Welcome to my party, we're just getting started. A life is a dream or a nightmare start.
Good morning, everybody. Looks like Arrow, the lights are all green and everything is functioning properly. Hopefully I didn't screw that up. All right, let's see here. What do we got? Current score is 13-18. Rumble is winning. We're going to give it a minute to settle, which is always weird because only a handful of people actually talk on Rumble. Let's see here. As far as Rumble goes, I guess we're going to call them the starting winners for today. Abby Normal, you are first. Where are we at here? Andy Pearson, number 2. And of course, there is no turd because Rumble is for slackers. All right, let's see here. Rose on YouTube, first. Catitude, number 2. JB, you are the turd. All right, let's see here. Everybody's saying good morning. We got Debbie's in the house. Catitude is around here. Let's see here. We got Bob Pita. Let's see here. JB the 25th. We got Jordan O'Neill. I got a rock. I feel like Charlie Brown. I'm red. I got a rock. Ian's in the house. Where are we at here? Bradley, 5x5. Self-defense prepper. Somebody get Hillary should be on the list. Gotcha. All right, let's see here. Yeah, that too. Civil defense prepping. And as usual, YouTube is catching up, and Rumble will go down. We're already at 18 to 19. 18. Well, Rumble just fought back 21. No, it's a good subject today, guys. It's a good subject today. I had an admin note for you, but I can't remember. Oh, here's the admin note. I was actually a couple of minutes late firing the magical internet machine up that makes this video as possible for you guys. And it's because I was perusing through the channels, and I've noticed a couple of things. One, the after being called hypocrites about the rhetoric has to come down. We need to bring the temperature down after the Trump assassination 2.0. Hopefully that won't go over too badly with the algorithm. But I've noticed that none of the left-wing channels, which is basically all of them except for 1 or 2, are talking about Captain Red Tie or his situation at the golf course. Very, very interesting. So I guess they didn't want to be seen as hypocrites, and now they're changing all of that. Also, they're realizing it just gives him more press. Yay. Patrick's in the house. Good to see you, guy. Good to see you. All right, so let's see here. If we're going to go ahead and jump right into this, obviously this video is brought to you by PrepStock. PrepStock.net. Get your tickets. It's going October 12th to the 13th in Nebo, North Carolina. And currently you can get 15% off those tickets if you use the code FINAL15. Those tickets will only be on sale for the next less than 15 days. Now, October 1st is ticket sales will close out. All right, let's see here. If we go into this, so the reason I brought this subject up was one of what I like to do for the members is try and do a weekly threat board. It's a threat brief. Basically, I call it the LP's threat board, and people seem to love it. So if you're not a member and you want to get in on that, go find the links. There's one in the description, or you can do it on your phone. However, wherever. YouTube has made it almost impossible for the common sense button to be found. Anyway. And so based off of what the things that I'm seeing, the civil war is still a very high, is still a tier 1 threat on the threat board. And I've what is it? Ukraine just blew up a Russian staging point for strategic as well as tactical weaponry, basically a missile factory. And they just blew that up overnight. You got the Israelis setting off pagers. The world is, all those distractions are taking us away from our country and what is happening inside of it. So, I did a little research found a couple relevant articles, hit a couple of think tanks, and found out some of the major things that could actually that could actually light this candle. Star, good to see you, Canada. So I wanted to share it with you, and we're going to do it in 2 segments. The first segment is actually semi-lengthy. The third section is lengthy, and because it goes into more of the details, everybody's like, "Oh, I'm gonna grab my air, and we're gonna go ruck up, and we're gonna meet all over at the Capitol." Yeah, none of that's going to happen. None of that's going to happen. Okay. So there are certain things that have to happen, and there are certain things that could happen. So what we need to do is talk just a little bit about, and as you guys know, I'm seeing you guys are starting to fill the comments up. I think that's great. I'm going to go back and read every one of them, as long as I don't get like 1,000 followers in 5 seconds, which is not likely to happen. We're going to go over a few. We're going to gloss over some of the big stuff, and then we're going to go into the detailed stuff. Before we do that, I want to check the poll out. If you're not on the YouTube side, you don't know that there's actually a poll inside the chat that currently has 17 votes when it should have 26. Hint, hint. This is what is the most likely trigger for Civil War 2.0 in the United States? Currently, a disputed federal election and an economic collapse are tied at 35% apiece. Gun control enforcement at 22% now at 39. You guys are voting. Thank you. So disputed federal election just moved to 39, economic collapse 33, gun control enforcement 22, and state secession attempts at 6%. And we're going to monitor that poll as we go through this. By the way, YouTube has taken over in the lead. They're currently 29-22. All right, so getting into it, let's see here. Jordan's already posted questions. Jordan's always asking me damn hard questions. I'm never ready for your questions, Jordan. What would be the outcome from a civil war? It would be very ugly. Breaking up the states, overtaking DC. There's no really way of knowing what would happen. You'd literally have to be a fortune teller who is actually not fake. And then Jordan says, what's the goal? Unfortunately, the goal would be to stop the craziness, because there's really no other goal right now. Just stop the craziness and get recentered back on constitutional values. And unfortunately, there would actually be measures put in place to actually enforce the Constitution to make it even stronger, because otherwise this will just happen in another 250 years. So I would think that would be the big thing right there. All right. So with that said, let's go ahead and get into it. If you got your coffee, time to take a good sip. I can feel that yawn building already. As soon as I start getting into this, it's just going to come right out. All right, here we go. So in this analysis of the potential for a second American Civil War, historians explore several trends that suggest the risks is not only real, but growing. They identify 3 primary factors contributing to this dangerous trajectory. First, the United States has an astonishing number of privately owned firearms, over 339 million that we know of, surpassing its population. This high rate of gun ownership vastly exceeds that of other nations, including those with martial cultures and histories of internal conflict in a deeply divided society. The sheer number of weapons could amplify violent outbreaks. Now, what does this mean? It's written in a kind of a lefty term so that people will understand it a little bit better and go, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. It does. It actually makes perfect sense. Here's why. Because if there's no Second Amendment, there would be no guns. And if there's no guns, then there can never be a civil war, unless you're Australia, who did it once. By the way, if you guys didn't know that, Australia was actually disarmed. The penal colony, they took over. If you don't know anything about the Australian Revolution, you should probably look into it, because it's very attuned to what might actually happen here in the United States if the left is allowed to do what they want to do. All right, second big picture item, highlighting the extreme political polarization plaguing the country. Studies show that American political polarization has outpaced other democracies, which means we are extremely polar here in the United States, more than other countries, including Canada, Germany, and the UK. And we've been doing this for over 40 years. Americans on both sides of the political spectrum increasingly hold negative and often inaccurate perceptions of their opponents. This lack of mutual respect and growing hostility sets a dangerous stage for conflict, particularly when combined with widespread armament. Now, once again, we're back to the Second Amendment. But our extreme, we've never been as polarized as we are now. I don't know, how do I put this? My girlfriend has a son, and I'm in his life, and I'm constantly watching the news and reading emails and doing all the things that you guys are doing to try to stay up or situationally aware of our world. And I had an epiphany yesterday, and it kind of hit me again this morning while we were watching TV, as this young 17-year-old boy is watching the news while he's eating his little sausage, egg, and cheese sandwich, drinking his coffee. And then he's watching all the commentary on the last assassination attempt. And I had this feeling, this thought in my head. It's like, I wonder what it's like for these kids to be growing up in this time. He said to me yesterday when I picked him up from school, "Oh, I didn't get to see that one when I was listening to, I think I was listening to Glenn Beck about some of the things that were happening with the last attempt." And his words, they say, listen to people long enough and they'll tell you who they are. And his words were, "I didn't get to see that one." How our kids are growing up where it's becoming very common for these kind of things to happen. It's not right. It's not right. And the extreme, the extreme polarization that is separating our nation is extremely volatile to the youth because they don't understand what's happening. They're just growing up in it. So, something to think about. The third thing emphasizes emphasizes on the culture obsession with civil war in the United States. Many note that this fixation extends beyond historical reflections of the 19th century civil war. By 2022, nearly 43% of Americans believe another civil war was possible within the next decade. Popular culture and media frequency indulge in this narrative, which serves to normalize the idea of violent domestic conflict, making it feel less like a hypothetical and more like a looming reality. Ooh, I would remind people that no one that is right of center was talking about civil war until the people on the left of center brought it up. And that's where I'm going to leave that one. I'm going to go ahead and check the chat real quick here. I'm going to go to the Rumble side. Abby Normal, who hasn't, she's there was I have two Rumble channels, and one of them, people were like wondering where you are, so I had to like make a video for him saying, "Hey, I'm over here." Let's see here. Andy says, "We must lower the mean-spirited talk, and Captain Red Tie is a threat to the world. How about hypocritical?" Yes, it is. This actually got addressed directly during the White House press briefing yesterday, where of course, Steve Ducey, no, it's Peter Ducey. Steve is his father. Had asked a very hard question, and Jean-Pierre was not happy with him. So it's something to go watch. Watch her body language, watch her inability to answer, watch her not have a page in her little book to flip to run her suck about. Basically, like, why are we, is at what point do we realize that you've normalized this by talking about it and seeing Captain Red Tie as a threat and saying he's a threat to everybody else? You're literally publicizing he's a threat to democracy. You know, how many times have we heard this term? It's once again, we we know that it will go away sooner or later because, you know, as usual with all the language that the people that are right of center use to identify things emotionally instead of physically or factually. You know, we know they basically the words lose their power, if you guys remember that one. But unfortunately, there are nutbags out there that are just like, I can't take it anymore, and then they post up at, you know, in you know, the grassy knoll and do things, you know. So things that we need to be aware of. Let's see. I'm gonna go back. What's it worth? Treason is treason. I don't know what that is, JB. I don't know, what is that? Is that an eyeball or something? The militarist. I don't recognize you, bro. Huh. Thanks for showing up. Make sure you hit that subscribe button here. I'm normally here Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. I know Pittsburgh's going to be let's see here. I learned from the Syrian Civil War. I got you, bro. I got you. Let's see here. Bradley says they think the U.S. has 120.5 guns per 100 people, second highest country in the world at 55 per 100. I got you. We're going to end up like Spain, the militarist says. I don't know. We'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. Yeah, Oops says, make treason again. Yeah, we've got to, you know, here's the thing. And we're way off subject, and we're 15 minutes into this, and there's a lot of ground to cover. But they keep trying to throw this Project 2025 at the Republicans, and it's not working. But here's the thing. Every day they do more things to emphasize that project might actually be what the nation needs. You know, I was thinking yesterday, it's like, you know, they're like, it's like our government is like a hydra. You know, you just cut one head off and another one pops right back up. We have gotten so far away from the values that these government servants are supposed to have, that it needs to be, you know, our government needs to be in a place where the people are actually working for the people. And those aren't just words. Those are like, hey, I came to work today. What'd you do today? Dude, I really did this awesome program. It's really going to help a lot of people. Dude, hey, we went to combat the other day. We killed our enemies. Now our people can be safe. It's got to be for the people, no matter what their job is. And unfortunately, it's all turned into self-enrichment and power. That's all it's turned into. Let's see here. I'm trying to say a good example to my niece and nephew because I don't want it. Gotcha. I may have ran my suck too long. The dude is here. Good. What's good to see you, bro? Light Raiders in the house. Raise the black flag for treasonous people to see. You know, there's a possibility of that happening. But unfortunately, that just in law enforcement, they've already identified. They'll literally just put you on the list. So it's just not smart. It's like the Trump voter who says, "I don't worry about who I'm voting for," you know, because they don't want to be targeted. That's, you know, soon the time of talking diplomatic solution will come to an end and end here in U.S. You know, that's unfortunately that's what war, that's what violent revolutions, that's what civil wars are about. The end of diplomatic solutions. It's actually part of the process. In the late 60s and early 70s were possibly the most violent we had in times. Yes, to an extent, but we did not have the technological advantages. Individual human beings did not have the technological advances and the ability to have a platform back then. So it's extremely dangerous now, Rose. Bradley says, yes, they saw what the right is doing, find and kind of agreement and then make it their policy. Not a fan of that approach. I've got you, Broseph. I've got you. And Ian is happy to say, oops is true. All right. Civil war has started, 2 assassinate attempts. Duh. Shadow Prepper. Good to see you, Broseph. I haven't seen you quite some time. And since you're here, you are deterred. Thank you for posting, bro. I appreciate you, man. Anybody who posts, I appreciate it. If you're just a lurker, thanks for showing up. But I love you, but you're not contributing. Let's see here. We're just sitting around waiting for Trump to be killed and election to be stolen. Yeah, that would be, so if they were able to, and let's not get off subject, okay, but if they were able to accomplish the assassination of Trump, Laser, good to see you, bro. Then that would literally mean that the elections would have to be postponed. Yes, it would have to be postponed. And if they try to not postpone them, then and just basically say, well, we're going to have to wait until the next come around, then all hell would break loose. Bradley says, didn't the Beatles sing a song about revolutions are easily hijacked? Just saying. That's a good info. Yeah, exactly. Let's see here. You guys are really posting a lot of stuff, and I appreciate that. It's really hard to stay on point here. I can't say your name properly. Natsirium Defender. I don't know what I'm going to call you, bro, but if you hang around, I'll figure it out. I think they will definitely rig the election. Special K will be placed in White House with her cuck by her side, happy to submit to a woman. Things will worsen. I could be wrong, but things will get worse. Things are going to get worse either way, guys. Power vacuums happen all the time. And Cindy says, I said morning, not lurking. Blurry vision, hard to type. Okay, Cindy, I didn't see you. It's not a big deal. All right, so let's go ahead and get back on here. So with those three major points, okay, Major Ken says, have backhoe. Major Ken, good to see you, bro. So I haven't seen you in a while. I do not know why there's not like a little square next to your name. You should probably figure that out. You too, the dude. All right. So many argue that a future American Civil War would likely begin as localized skirmishes, such as disputes between Texas and the federal government. We've seen that over border control, but could rapidly escalate. With 25 Republican governors openly siding with Texas against federal mandates, one could think that secession could be the spark ignition border, could be the spark. This is really badly written. Could be the spark igniting border conflict. Such a civil war would not just involve militias and private citizens, but would likely see splintering within the formal military and the law enforcement agencies, creating a far more complex and destructive war than the 19th century conflict. Now, historians warn that advanced technologies and nuclear capabilities would make any modern civil war more devastating. They reference popular media, such as films like Leaving the World Behind, which depicts nuclear conflicts as part of a broader domestic collapse. The growing acceptance of such catastrophic scenarios, both in fiction and among the public, could further reduce societal resistance to actual conflict. Stopping short of predicting an inevitable civil war, historians warn that peaceful de-escalation under current political conditions is unlikely. Let me say that again. This is one of the reasons that it's so high on LP's threat board. Stopping short of predicting an inevitable civil war, historians warn that peaceful de-escalation under current political conditions is unlikely. The country basically faces two alternatives: a path towards depolarization, which appears improbable, or the rise of authoritarianism to suppress civil unrest. Of note, a nation can end up with both civil war and a dictatorship, drawing a historic parallel to ancient Rome. If you guys don't know your Roman history, you should probably do some light reading, because there's a whole couple thousand years worth of it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get into some of the main triggers, okay, or what we would call possible trigger events. But before we do that, let's go ahead and check the polls. And right now, disputed federal election is 44%. Economic collapse is 34%. Gun control enforcement at 19%. And state secession attempts are at 3% with 32 votes, which is pretty awesome. We currently have 52 people on the YouTube side and 24 people on the Rumble side, which is pretty cool, Guys, right about now is the time where I ask you, if you love your country, type the number 1, America. And the reason we do that is because it helps the algorithm realize that we're not screwing around, and it helps to let people know that, hey, something's going on over here. We do have a lot of comments in the chat right now. I'm going to go and try and read a few of them before we get too deep into the triggers. I do this every time. It's like, I'm going to read the chat, but blow it up for me. Let's see here. Let's see. The dude says, we know the elections and governments is a scam now. It's clear. It's true. It's absolutely true. The dude says, I'm good. I know why it has to deal with a subscription. The Square by my name membership. Yes, the dude, it is. It's a membership. And I highly recommend the Doomsday Prepper level. And the reason I do is because it gives you access to more stuff than just what's here. What you're seeing in this YouTube box YouTube has a lot of stuff on their membership guides that nobody knows about. Also, I made 4 videos yesterday that none of you can see. Well, 2 of them you'll get to see. The first one already got dropped yesterday. The other one gets dropped today. But the members get full access to them before they even get published. And then also 3 membership videos yesterday. So if you're going to miss out, you're going to miss out. All right, let's see here. Let's see. Cindy says, you saw the video from a veteran calling other veterans to march on Washington because of U.S. and UK meeting to give Ukraine permission to fire certain missiles. No, I didn't see that. I didn't see that. And unfortunately, that just sounds like more polarization. What the left doesn't understand is that what they've created this monster in the military. They spent the last probably 15, almost 20 years creating political officers inside of the military, politically minded officers who want to gain rank, going into command billets to influence, and they created them. And so now these officers are all retiring or they're getting out of the military, and they are thinking the same way now. No U.S. veteran would march on Washington because the U.S. and UK met to give Ukrainian permission to fire certain missiles. That would be like, there's no reason to do that. I don't have any control of that stuff. There's nothing on my collars. I'm no longer in camouflage. You see what I'm saying? That's what the average veteran, that's how the average veteran feels. But they created these political officers, and now they think that they can just go run amok and run their sucks and have all sorts of opinions because they got giant platforms, and do and say whatever they want. And the next thing, they're going to wake up one morning and realize that they're absolutely wrong, and they're going to find themselves hiding in the bushes trying to accomplish something no one else could accomplish. Hint, hint. All right, let's see here. We're going to roll past the Jordan. You gave me that 1/2 again. I love you, girl. Let's see here. Bradley says, just my thought on these things. When we think about things, we most of the time think in terms of extremes, and that's dangerous. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm actually part of an organization, and I'm a very loose member who is focused on being neutral, having not like non-threat, like non-violence. No, not like that. Kung Fu, man. But like actually having conversations in the bubble with people that are left, right, and center, and not going holy ape shit crazy, not losing my mind, not calling people names, not invoking the mighty F word, but actually having like conversations and logical adult disagreements. And so I think you're right, Bradley. I think you're right. Let's see here. Scratch HD. Depends on what kind of patriot you are. Well, that's right up there with that scene from that movie we were just talking about, or no, the scene from the movie Civil War. What kind of American are you? No, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. But wait a minute, Ken. I think I read you wrong here. Depends on what kind of patriot you are. Well, I guess if you're an American patriot and you believe in American values and you believe that the Constitution supersedes all things, then that's the kind of patriot that you should be. Let's see. Need to have a family membership plan. Sign them all up. I liked your short vids yesterday. I did shorts. Oh yeah, yeah, that was hilarious. I read about that, and it actually came out yesterday too, and I instantly had to do a short. Um, so basically, Kamala's what was that about? Keek. Um, damn, what was that about? I cover so many subjects. Remind me what that was about, Bradley, and we're going to talk about it very briefly. Veterans won't march; their knees are crunchy and they can't move anymore. Exactly. So many back problems. Let's see. The dude says, let that sink in. No other nation wants that building. I don't, dude, something's missing in the comments, because no other nation. I don't get what you're saying, the dude. Sandra says, Sandra, I don't recognize you. Welcome to the channel. Subscribe. Lots of us vets are pretty old, 70s, still pro-constitutional republic. Yes, we are. We are a democratic republic. And I don't really say that very often, but every time, because they've literally redefined the word democracy. So let's see here. Yeah, JB the 25th says the credit scores with medical bills. So yesterday, Kamala's, another one of her fake ass promises, election promises. She's going to promise to remove credit scores, or no, remove medical bills. Like, if you guys didn't know this, like, a lot of medical bills go into your credit score. She's promises to remove that from your credit scores, and medical debt, okay, from your credit scores, and that she was going to take control, basically get the government to take control of that system. And so first thing it's a big joke, because she can promise that all day long, but she can never deliver it. And the reason she can never deliver it is because she can't. The government has no authority. It's ran by 3 major credit bureaus, which are giant banks. Okay. It's a commercial industry. It has nothing to do with the government. So in her mind, she was like, well, we'll just take that over. Well, they tried in 2011, and they tried again in 2019. And there's just no, like, in the Congress, it's like, no, that's stupid. We're not doing that. But the big thing is if they were able to do that, that would literally turn that, because if the government could control your credit score, they literally just created a social credit score like China. And that's no bueno. And thank you all for telling me that. I appreciate it. Let's see. All right, so let's go ahead and roll into this. Right now, we're winning at disputed federal election. 41% is the winner on the polls. Currently, 55-23. YouTube is winning. Paradigm Shift says, too, I don't love my country, Canada. Eh? And if you guys haven't hit that like button, please do. It does help. I can't tell on the YouTube side how many people have done it, but it is what it is. All right, so we're right at the halfway point. So I've scheduled this perfectly. I do have to pay some bills real quick. Let's pay some bills. And who are we going to promote today? You know what? Who's not getting enough love today? Hardcore Hammers, guys. Hardcorehammers.com. They've actually donated one of their survival hatchets. They're actually on the screen. That's what they look like. And this thing is, I'm afraid to play with it because I don't want to dull it up. I want to keep it like it's razor sharp. And its design is literally probably, I hate to say it, but it's probably one of the best backpack hatchets I've ever seen in my life. It's got the length to chop wood properly. Its hammer end is appropriate. It's got the nail remover / pull whatever you want up notch in it. It is an unbelievable piece of gear. I really need to do a video on it, but I don't want to scratch it up because I got to give it away to some lucky winner at Prep Stock. So if you don't have your Prep Stock tickets, you can't even get a chance. But please do, guys, go over to Hardcore Hammers, look at their products, especially if you're like a contractor, if you're in the industry. That's how they got started. They make unbelievable tools. So do me a favor, guys, go check out Hardcore Hammers and see if I'm lying. All right, so I'm gonna push this button right here. Cha cha cha. Because I know sooner or later Grumpy's gonna pop in. He's probably lurking right now, aren't you, Grumpy? I bet you're lurking. We're gonna find out. Okay, let's see here. D good for the roof. D good for the roof. Home panorama. You got so many verbs, so many adjectives, so many consonants, so many vowels. Let's see here. Pandama. Panda. I'm just calling you Panda, man. Because hum doesn't work. What's going on over here then? There we go. Now you know that. Now you know that. All right. So we talked about the three major events that could cause the problem. Okay. And Marines don't salute indoors. Thank you. Let's see. So a second American Civil War, referred to as Civil War 2.0, would likely differ greatly from the 19th century. Instead of two distinct factions fighting in open battlefields, it could emerge through a series of escalating events across different regions, involving regular warfare, decentralized factions, and the breakdown of government authority. Now, here's a speculative scenario on how such a conflict could unfold. Yeah, I like the Patriot. I like the Patriot. All right. So the first trigger we're going to talk about is regional crisis and political defiance. A flashpoint could be political or cultural crisis, such as disputed presidential election or a controversial Supreme Court ruling. For example, if the federal government enacts sweeping gun control measures, that would not go well. Abortion bans or climate change regulations, some state governments might refuse to comply, citing state sovereignty. And for those of you that don't believe state sovereignty exists, you should probably read more. Texas, for instance, could openly defy federal laws, leading to legal battles and increasing tensions between state and federal authorities. During this period, protests erupt nationwide. In conservative states like Texas, protests might turn into armed demonstrations, where local militias, encouraged by state leadership, rally to defend their constitutional rights. Federal agencies would attempt to intervene, but resistance from the state law enforcement could cause a standoff, which is what we actually saw very, very briefly at the border event last year. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and check the chat, guys. Make sure you comment on these things. Otherwise, we shorten. When you don't comment, you shorten the live feed. Paradigm Shift says citizenship for military service would see those Haitians pointing the guns at you. Just saying. Listen, man, there are DoD regulations that talk to enlistment of non-U.S. citizens. Okay. Let's not go down that route. Paradigm Shift. That's way out there. That's like, I got to go find my tinfoil hat. Okay. So there are things in place that keep that from happening, by the way. All right. So dude says Texas doesn't exist anymore. It's been overran. Texas governor has been shipping our enemy soldiers around the country for free. I don't know what that means, dude. I don't like lawyers either. Panda. Let's see. Jordan says, let's see here. Texas, what do we got here? Texas isn't going to just pop up at the borders, U.S. and Mexican. I don't understand what that means. Light Raider says, I think so many military would go home to protect their family. Absolutely. Unfortunately, most people in the military I would say you're probably going to lose about 50% of the military, because there'll be the watchstanders that I've got to stay. I made a commitment, and there'll be others that I have to protect my family. So at that point, it may paychecks, that monthly paycheck may not matter anymore. All right, let's see here. The next one is federal versus state standoff. Secession talk grows. The standoff between the federal government and defiant state deepens. The governor of Texas or another defiant state could declare that the state will no longer recognize certain federal laws and assert control over federal institutions, such as military bases, border control, and federal courts, with their jurisdiction. This sparks conversations about secession, not just in Texas, but in other Republican-controlled states, particularly in the South and Midwest. In response, federal authorities impose sanctions on these rebellious states, threaten to cut off federal funding and services. This could fuel more populist uprisings as residents in defiant states increasingly view the federal government as illegitimate, especially in areas already polarized by years of political discontent. Governors of multiple states begin to collaborate, discussing the possibility of a collective secession from the United States. Let's go ahead and check the chat. Okay, thank you. I would go to war to protect my family too. Let's see here. Jordan says, I'm always for local law over federal, but that's only when not in a world war. Okay. I can I had to think about it a second. I can be down with that. Let's see here. Dude, don't copy and paste your comments, Broseph. All right, let's see here. 3, escalation of violence. Localized conflict amid the growing tension, small-scale violence breaks out. Pro-federal government protests clash with anti-government militia in defiant states. In one scenario, federal law enforcement agents might attempt to enforce laws in a rebellious state, such as gun control measures, leading to armed confrontations with state militias and local police who refuse to cooperate with federal agents. The violence starts in cities but quickly spreads to rural areas where militias have been organizing for years. In rural areas, citizens begin to declare autonomous zones, expelling federal law enforcement and establishing self-governing communities. Guerrilla warfare tactics, including ambushes, raids on federal properties, and sabotage of key infrastructure, such as power grids and communication lines, become common. All right, let's see here. I just typed that fast. I don't copy and paste. I'm serious. Okay, well, don't say the same thing over and over. Some of the states already ignore constitutional rights, like Washington. They no longer fly U.S. or Washington flags, but fly BLM in classrooms. Yeah, Sandra, unfortunately, we're seeing some of that stuff, but I don't know that that is the law. Rebecca says, should have had a collective secession after 2020. All right, let's see here. Cindy Hoff says, where are we at here? Cindy says, watch a diff video out of San Diego or San Francisco showing buses of migrants loading planes to go wherever from private airstrip. That is possible. That is possible. Truth. I don't know what exactly are we getting over. Get it over. Oh, I'm sorry. Get it over already. Yeah, but that's just it. We don't want to rush into things. Only fools rush into it. And only fools rush into love. All right. So let's see here. What did we just talk about? Guerrilla warfare, breakdown of military discipline. I don't know what that was about. Okay. So the next thing is military fragmentation. Soldiers and police choose sides. The U.S. military, tasked with maintaining order, begins to fracture. Soldiers from rebellious states may refuse orders or desert, join state militias, or forming their own factions. Law enforcement agencies are simply split, with some aligning with state authorities and others remaining loyal to federal commands. The breakdown of military discipline leads to confusion and chaos. In several key incidents, military units from opposing sides clash, intensifying the violence. Some generals in defiant states may declare allegiance to their governors, while others remain loyal to Washington, creating multiple factions within the armed forces. All right, let's check the chats here. Let's see here. No option for civil war caused by government shipping migrants into all cities. No option for civil war because government shipping. I'm not down with that, Cindy. I'm not buying that. I'm not buying that thought at all. Elvis said it. Only fools rush in. I got you, Jordan. Let's see here. Yeah, that's truth. Hey, truth. Listen, you seem to be very opinionated, and you're welcome here. But stay on point. Let's stay on point. All right. Let's see here. Where are we at? Can't help falling. George says soldiers are told what they are fighting for, so I'm sure half would walk off and protect their home before protecting the government. Yes, agreed. About half. West Virginia Pappy, I haven't seen you in a while, man. Good to see you. Sup? Came across the TikTok like that. Couldn't be viewed in my region. Don't know why. Gotcha. Oops says it's being done with buses to San Diego airport and loading airplanes with illegals and flying them all over the U.S. I have family in San Diego, and they've been seeing all this and filming it. I gotcha. All right, let's see here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move on now. Thank you very much, Truth. I appreciate you. Let's see here. Number 5, secession and formation of breakaway states. At this point, states like Texas, Florida, and others formally declare secession, forming an alliance of breakaway states. They begin drafting new constitutions and building up their military forces. Ooh, it's time to drink. Woo, drink. All right. These newly formed states claim control over federal assets such as military bases and National Guard units, intensifying the conflict as they attempt to assert their independence. International actors begin to take notice. Some countries may quietly support the breakaway states, providing arms or diplomatic recognition to weaken U.S. global power. Others remain neutral but prepare for potential global economic repercussions as the U.S. teeters on the brink of collapse. Let's go ahead and check this out. Where are we at here? Jordan says they're being flown out because places like Chicago are proclaiming sanctuary cities. Gotcha. And we got some agreement over there. And Andy put something on the Rumble side. Texas nationalist movement is a peaceful movement to exit the Union. I believe Vermont has a smaller movement. Yes, I've heard of both. Let's see here. Jordan's they're being flown to any city with an airport. Yeah, I gotcha. All right. So the next step, the next cycle in this breakdown is widespread insurrection, urban warfare, and factionalism. As secession spreads, it's a big word. Cities around the country descend into chaos. In urban centers, local gangs, militias, and political factors take control of the neighborhoods, leading to urban warfare. Major cities like Los Angeles, New York, and Chicago see both pro-federal and anti-federal factions battling for control. Some cities may declare themselves independent from state or federal control, becoming city-states. They pursue their own interest. The factionalism fragments the U.S. further as different regions pursue different political ideologies. The Civil War becomes decentralized, with fighting occurring on multiple fronts and loyalties divided not just between states, but within local communities. All right, going to the chat here. Where are we at here? Jordan, you were just monopolizing. You were monopolizing my time, lady. I got you. But keep going. See if anybody can beat her. So what you're saying is we are in a civil war and another country sees it as the perfect time to swoop in and launch an attack. This is a possibility. The world likes to see the U.S. weak because we literally are the beacon on the hilltop. We are the last bastions of what we consider freedom, liberty. All other countries don't have this. They pretend to have it, but they don't. The first is protected by the second, and those are the things that they don't have. Where are we at here? Economic collapse, shortages, and black markets. As violence spreads, the U.S. economy crumbles. Supply chains are disrupted, causing shortages of essential goods, including food, fuel, and medicine. Black markets emerge as people struggle to survive. and wealthy individuals and corporations move their assets offshore or form private security forces to protect their interests. The dollar loses its value as international markets lose confidence in the stability of the U.S. financial institutions, collapse, causing mass unemployment and further social unrest. Infrastructure, including power grid and internet, become unreliable as key systems are either sabotaged or neglected. Now, with that said, Cindy says, let's see, what do we got here? Was the wake up gym your girlfriend uses called Rev Energy Gum? Maybe no more yawns. That may be what it is. I asked her, she said she couldn't remember. So maybe that's it. I'll look into that because I've looked at a couple other ones, but I just don't want to get that like caffeine, like crazy caffeine buzz. I just want to be awake. Let's see here. Dude says economic collapse. Everything is $5 now. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it's true. It's coffee, guys, coffee. 64% more expensive now than it was when Captain Red Tie ran the country. Let that one sink in. Canadian dollar becomes gold like that movie Civil War. That's yeah, okay. Depth charge. I don't recognize you, man. Good to see you. Make sure you subscribe. Is there going to be a military draft soon? That is unclear. James, capturing institutions? Check. Why do I feel like I just got a bunch of militia guys popping into the chats? Let's see here. I feel like I'm not seeing all the responses in the chat. Weird. I don't know, Rebecca. I don't know. I mean, the chat is moving, but I think we're okay. Bob, good to see you, Bob. Where are we at here? Bob. Dollar General to be $5 General soon. They're doing some talks. They did the whole $1.25 tree during the thing that we can't speak about. And that's like the salute. That's like the salute of people who's, I survived. Let's see. 5 and dime is $5.10. That's Jordan saying that. Economy already collapsed long ago, but no one admits it, and most don't see it. Yeah. Well, if you look at the charts, there's some logic to what Oops is saying. If you're looking at the charts and you actually like blow them up to like years, you can see where it's literally like and it's just this. We have these little hiccups to where the economy is just slowly going down over the last 4 years. Actually, probably the last 8 years. I buy my coffee at Sam's Club, and it's went up maybe $1, but it's only $10. $10 for how much? Now you have my attention, Bradley. $10 for how much? Because I've got a Sam's Club, and I'll go there if their coffee's cheap. Let's see here, Brad. What did coffee cost in 1970? There we go. Let's see here. Do you have a top chat or? Oh, there you go. That could be it right there. Yeah. So if you have on the YouTube side, you can choose between latest and top chat. And if you have top chat selected, then some of the chat you won't see. You won't actually like see what you should be, like the active rolling of the chat. And Rose, thank you for giving those instructions. I appreciate you. Light Raider, good call. American Homestead has a video with a chart everyone needs to see. Oh, well, Oops, are you part of the Discord? If you are part of the Discord, you ought to drop that in the Discord because we'd love to see it. All right. Let's see here. Paradigm Shift says the U.S. is spread out thin around the world. A war at home would be a perfect opportunity for invasion to an extent. The problem is we have what they call global reach, the ability to project power. And if somebody steps out of line or said, this is our chance, then, they get like 40 cruise missiles up the anus. So they're it's not the same as a nuclear war, but it definitely has its effects. All right. So now you guys all seem to be like rolling here. Let's move into the next phase. International involvement, proxy conflicts. With the US in chaos, foreign powers might seize the opportunity to further their own interests. China, Russia, or other nations could intervene indirectly, funding and arming different factions to weaken their geopolitical rival. Some breakaway states might seek foreign support in exchange for economic or military secessions, drawing the conflict into a global power struggle. At the same time, international peacekeeping forces may attempt to intervene under the pretext of preventing the spread of nuclear weapons or protecting human rights. However, these interventions could inflame the situation, further leading to proxy wars on U.S. soil. Boy, the plot just thickens, doesn't it? The plot just thickens. All right, let's see here. I'm going to the chat. We need more corporate welfare. We need to trickle down. I don't know about that. James says, happen in the UK too. Same playbook, capture all the institutions, make people poor, import the third world. We have less space and guns. Yeah, exactly. Jay, I'll be honest with you, James, if you're over there in the UK, like I said, the first is protected by the second. That's something that you guys don't have. That's why they trample over all your damn rights over there, because they can just come and arrest you. The thought police can come and take you to jail for a year because you posted some meme, because you reposted some meme. Let's see here. Saw it at Dollar General, like a single espresso. Did he put the price in here? Did Bradley put the price in there? I really want that. I really want that coffee. Bradley, where's the coffee, Bradley? Brad's like, oh man. All right, let's see here. We got Tuck, we got Sandra. Russia was hit last night by NATO. Some questioning nuke or plasma weapons. No, so Russia was not hit by NATO. Don't say those kind of things. All right. They were actually hit by Ukraine. They used a weapons system, and it was not far from the border, so it wasn't like long range weaponry. It was actually a staging point for strategic weapons like drones, like long range missiles, things like that. No nuclear weapons were involved, to my knowledge. Let's see. If my comments smell fishy or bad, truth stinks sometimes. You smell. I don't know why I got this drive. It just keeps popping up on my screen. Some dude has hacked my trash. All right, let's see. So let's go ahead and move on to number 9, the humanitarian crisis, mass displacement and casualties. Millions of Americans become refugees with their own country, fleeing the violence. The collapse of government services lead to the humanitarian crisis with food and water shortages, lack of medical care, and the spread of disease. Camps for internally displaced persons, known as IDPs, spring up in safe regions, but resources are limited, leading to widespread suffering. International organizations may try to send aid, but the fractured nature of the country makes it difficult to distribute. As millions are displaced, some attempt to flee to Canada or Mexico, creating a refugee crisis across North America. So that's right. Americans could become refugees in their own country. Oh, well, of course, Putin says everything is NATO. It does that. Putin says cottage cheese is really Jello. Good for Putin. Let's see here. So the next one is Savage. That solutions. So if you guys are, I'm taken aback. I'm absolutely taken aback. This is remarkable. Thank you, Savage Solutions, for giving $100 to me to answer your questions. Jordan's like, what is this? Yeah, if you guys didn't know, there's actually a button here on the YouTube where you can like push it and give me money, but I never promote it. So it's called a super chat. So give me a second here. Savage Solutions. Let's see here. Sorry to be off topic, but I was wondering, what are the sleeping accommodations like near prep stock? Is this a camping event? Thanks for everything you are doing. Savage Solutions. Matter of fact, let's put you on there. Let's give you a little show timer. I've never seen one that comes across like that. This is absolutely blowing my mind. So first of all, if you have not been to prepstock.net, there's detail. There's actually a page on prepstock.net that leads you to all of the camping sites. The first campsite that is closest to Prepstock, it was taken up. It was bought out the first month we put the tickets out. There were only 14 campsites. Boom, they're gone. There's another campsite that is right across the lake that should still have campsites available, and the Prepstock website should guide you to that. Okay. If you cannot figure out the camping, because I'll be honest with you, this is camping season, so a lot of these spots were already taken up months ago. There are hotels in the area. They've got everything from the $60 a night one to the $170 a night one, so there are hotels available in the area. Savage, because you have graciously given me $100, which I don't even know what to do with. I'm still completely baffled here, but I appreciate you, man. Contact me at the email address is contact LocalPrepper, all one word, at gmail.com, and I'll be happy to link up with you and talk to you about anything that you want to know. And just let me know. Just let me know. Wow, I'm still kind of blown away here. I'm going to take that down now. I'm going to see if I can stay on point now. $100 make you holler. That will buy plenty of coffee. I know, right? What can I do? What can I do with $100? Maybe that's what I'll put. I got to figure that one out. Okay, so dude, you kind of bashed my brain in. Wow. Okay, so number 10, prolonged conflict and potential resolution. We've got to stay on point so we can finish this story. Because if you guys aren't seeing what I'm doing here, it's like I'm leading you down a path of the way a civil war or revolution would actually pan out. The war could drag on for years with no clear victor emerging. Different factions and regions may form temporary alliances, only for them to dissolve in the face of new conflicts. You know what? We need to do something here real quick, because I feel like I kind of left you hanging there. Let's go invite people and copy, and then boom. And so for Savage Solutions, or anybody that wants to do it, you know what? Can I just reply to you? Put user? No, I don't want to do that. This is a link to the Discord. All right. And you can go inside that Discord, and there ask questions about Prepstock, contact me directly, actually tick, communicate with me regularly. We're going to figure something out. Let's see here. Nutted grab them. I've inbred. What nut? What does that mean? What does that mean? Inquiring minds want to know. All right, so getting back on point. Only where we at here, different factions and regions may form temporary alliances, only for them to dissolve in the face of new conflicts. Diplomats from other countries, including the United Nations, may attempt to broker peace, but with so many splintered groups involved, negotiations are difficult. The U.S. may eventually break into smaller countries, each with its own government, or a new authoritarian regime might take power, enforcing order through brutal crackdowns on dissent. Let's get that one in our heads. The U.S. may eventually break into smaller countries, each with its own government, or a new authoritarian regime might take power, enforcing order through brutal crackdowns or on dissent. Alternatively, a peace agreement might be reached, but the country would be forever changed, both in terms of borders and identities. All right, so 5 recommendations. Let's see here. Would collapse close? Would colleagues close? Would colleagues close during Civil War? Would schools close? Oh, colleges. I guess it would depend on the area affected. I mean, we are so used to war in the world as first world countries. We are so used to it. We are so, unless you've been shot at, unless you've been in the sandbox, you have no idea. But you just don't. It's so difficult to explain. You've become numb to war while never experiencing it. And when it does come, you're not going to be happy. You watch the news and you see Ukraine and they're like, hey, I'm in Ukraine. I'm reporting from Ukraine. I'm telling you all this bad stuff. And in the background, it's a freaking dance party. Okay. Business as usual. Everything's hunky dory. And then somebody throws a fit when Russia, blows up somebody's house or destroys an apartment building, with either an errant or purposeful munition. Oh, let's get up. Oh. We got to stop being numb to this stuff. It's foolish. All right, let's see here. So recommendations for preventing Civil War 2.0. 1, promote bipartisan dialogue. One of the primary steps in averting such a conflict is fostering bipartisan communication at every level of government. Initiatives that encourage cross-party cooperation should be incentivized, creating spaces for dialogue between leaders and citizens from different political affiliations. Strengthen civic education. This is huge. This is something we got to get back to. A broad effort to reinvigorate civic education is critical. Ensuring that citizens understand the importance of democratic institutions and the dangers of secessionist movements may mitigate the risk, may mitigate the rising interest in violent solutions to political problems. And believe it or not, gun control and safety reforms. Implementing gun safety laws, including mandatory background checks and safe storage regulations, would help limit the ability of extremist groups to stockpile weapons. This could reduce the likelihood of militarized standoff between citizens and government. Now, do I agree with that 100%? No. Is most of what I just said about control hogwash? Yeah, pretty much. But the problem is that we have no control over what happens to a person psychologically after they buy a firearm. So bad things are going to happen. So, and, mandatory background checks. If you buy a firearm from a reputable dealer, you go through a background check. So this is lefty nutbag, blah, 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 Okay, so number 4, invest in economic stability. Ensure that economically devastating regions receive support can reduce the grievances that fuel populism and separatism. Infrastructure, investment, job creation, and local development could provide struggling communities with an alternative to violent rebellion. And basically, rich people come bring your money and start businesses. That's what it really means. Media accountability and literacy. Media companies, especially social media platforms, must be held accountable for spreading misinformation and radicalizing their audiences. At the same time, media literacy programs can help people discern fact from fiction, making them less susceptible to manipulation by extremist groups. Now, this is all very true. It's all very factual, but it doesn't really play out that way in the real world because X, Facebook, YouTube, they can't really control what people are saying. They can only strike them down when it happens. That's all they can do. So getting that word out, they can never stop it. But media accountability. Yeah, we need media accountability. We need to get these people to stop. Once the left figured out that no one was watching all their basically watching all their ABCs, NBC, CBS, MSNBC. When they figured out that people were tired of being lied to and stopped watching them, they lost their freaking mind and they attacked social media. By the way, that's what happened. All right, so by addressing these key areas, the U.S. can work toward de-escalation, preventing the conditions that could lead to Civil War 2.0 from taking root. But I would argue that it's already began to grow. All right, so let's see. I'm going to go to the, let's see, Paradigm Shift says, well, omnivore, I'm not sure what that's all about. Civil War may change my eating lifestyle for sure. I used to eat anything until it no longer agreed with me. I got you. All right, so, and if you haven't hit that poll, currently we have 55 votes, which is pretty freaking awesome in the poll. The question is, what is most likely trigger for Civil War 2.0 in the U.S.? And 39% a disputed federal election, 35% economic collapse, 20% gun control enforcement, and 7% state secession attempts. If you have not put anything inside of the poll yet, please do so now. The stream will be ending shortly. All right, let's see here. Going to the chat. All right. Where are we at here? Depth charge. I haven't seen you in a while, depth charge. With the current understanding of science and chemistry, our laboratories could wipe up or chemically emulate just about anything from venom to poison. What's the holdup? What the hell are you talking about, depth charge? Shadow missile used against Russia. I don't know about that. I think that'd be difficult to prove. But I mean, I'll look into it. Oops, I'm not saying you're wrong. But it is what it is. Also, you know what? Let me. And I've got some other questions queued or some things. I'm going to get back to the rest of the post because we're actually running over and I'm liking it. If it was a shadow missile, so what? Putin has been running his suck forever about, well, if they use those weapons, then that means you're at war with us because you supplied the weapons to them. You're talking about one of the smartest guys on the planet. Putin is no dummy, okay? He's not this warmonger. That is not who this guy is. So, you invaded his country. You invaded Ukraine. Putin, you invaded Ukraine. For whatever reason, you did it. Those are the facts. Okay? You waged war on another country. The other country has the right to fight back. You could say all day long that, oh, it's a shadow missing you. No. They have the right to fight back. Do I support the war in Ukraine? No, I do not. I think it's a giant money pit. I think that the military-industrial complex has got their claws into this one, and they're not going to let go until they can find something else to get into. Could it lead to World War III? I don't know. But Russia attacked Ukraine. Ukraine has the inherent right to self-defense and to fight back. And if that means using a weapon that they have in their hands to attack somebody who started the fight, then, well, I don't know what to say. I think it's pretty straightforward. Let's see here. Morgan Johnson Arthur. Good to see you, man. I don't recognize you. Americans fighting and killing other so-called Americans again for what? I'm not sure what Americans were killing other Americans. Do me a favor, put something in the comment. I'd like to expand on that. Jordan, I used to tell my kids burst rounds were being woodpeckers and artillery was really big woodpeckers. Let's see here. So by local, you guys are talking about some food or something. Morgan says, what are the complex and often contentious issues that are dividing our society today? Well, I think the big ones. So here's the big one, Morgan. There are people out there that want to be our nannies, and we don't want that to happen. That's the big one. It's very simple. There's no big words required. There's no college education required. There's no PhD. There's no analytical analysis required. It's simple. Leave us alone. There are people that want to be left alone, and it's a huge part of the country. I would say at least 51%. Let's see here. What do we got here? Sandra is talking about Tennessee. West Virginia Pappy says, was always taught don't walk anywhere with a weapon you wouldn't walk without one to avoid trouble. That's interesting. Let's see here. And Oops is talking about the battlefield in Shiloh, pretty big battle. I would say the election, if Trump actually wins, because the left will go berserk and attack. Actually, Rebecca, I don't believe that. I think that they'll attack with the weapons that they have available, which are nothing more than posts on Facebook and X and whatever little echo chamber they can fly into. Let's not forget that the day that Trump announced his first coming down the escalator, announced his first run for the office, the left went crazy. They went nuts. They called him every name under the bus. I mean, and they called him every name they could think of. They tried to label him as Orange Man bad as possible, and then he was supposed to like cause a war that he didn't cause. What are we? Look, we're there now. How'd that happen? You know, he was supposed to like destroy our government, and he actually made it stronger. Those aren't my words. They're actually factual items, things to think about. So I think that what they'll do is they'll do the same thing they did last time, but I think this time no one's going to listen to them. I think that he's going to destroy reporters. I think that the White House press pool will be significantly smaller, and it will be full of the same major television organizations, but it will be smaller for them, but it will be larger for the media, for these second and third echelon media companies that are up and coming, like OAN, stuff like that. I think that they'll become the big ones. I think that the lefties will be pushed to the back of the room because listen, we want you to be part of the plan. We want you to be part of America. Dissenting opinions matter, and they're normally good. But when they come to the front of the room to control the agendas, when it becomes state-run media, we have a problem. Let's see here. You guys are talking about museums, depth charge. We spend billions. All right, we spend billions into tanks, jets, boats, and guns of all ships and sizes, but not enough chemicals. I still don't know where you're going with this depth charge. I don't know where you're going with this. Let's see here. Sanders says Ukraine has been hitting Russia since 2014 because we're not going to say those biolabs in Ukraine. Neither confirm nor deny that. Let's see here. Morgan says the Civil War of the USA was the stupidest war ever fought. Huh. That's a possibility, Morgan. That's a possibility. And I see you have ... So I guess you're typing more. But I'm going to go ahead and say that it actually resolved a few things. While most would not have liked it to happen, it did clear some things up in our country. And a house will not stand divided. The actual term is, and I'm going to correct you here because apparently you just want to run on here. It's a divided house will not stand. Okay, so ending good, 15-19. YouTube, you freaking crushed it today. If you are new to the channel, I see a lot of new names, guys. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you are not a member of the YouTube membership, I hate saying it's like that Austin Powers moment, You too will, you too be something. If you're not a member of the YouTube membership, please consider doing so. There's a way to do it. You can either hit the join button wherever you can find it, or hit the more button on your phone. It's a little blue. It's not even a button. It's like blue words. And then scroll down and do that. But yeah. And if you see the Patreon, don't join that because that's going away. All right. I think that's going to be about it, guys. As usual, once again, top chat. That's Savage Solutions. I don't know what the hell to do. I don't know what the hell to do with your $100, but I'm going to figure out something good. As usual, guys, hit that thumbs up on the way out the door. Stay safe. Have a great day, and I shall see you when I see you. Thanks for hanging out with me, and hopefully I'll have something even cooler to talk about tomorrow. Bye-bye.